Good afternoon, everyone. We will begin momentarily. We have a lot of participation on this afternoon, so we're going to allow a few moments for everybody to get signed in and seated. So we will begin momentarily. Thank you.
Clicker. Let's use that one. Yeah. What she said then.
Welcome to the July Planning Commission meeting. Thank you all for being here. I hope that everybody had a safe, enjoyable, long weekend. So with that, we're going to call this meeting to order. If I could have the staff read the opening statement.
NC 25, dash 25. All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Augusta, Georgia Planning Commission is a recommending body. The final decisions on all zoning matters coming before it will be made by the Augusta Commission on Tuesday, July the 15th, 2025 at 2 p.m. in the Augusta Commission chambers at the Municipal Building. The Planning Commission makes the final decisions on all variances, including subdivision regulations. A handout describing the zoning procedures by which these cases are decided is available upon request. These procedures also require that any applicant for a rezoning action or any opponent to an application for a rezoning action who has made contributions aggregating $250 or more to a local government official within 2 years of the rezoning application to file a disclosure report with the governing authority. The disclosure report must be filed within 10 calendar days of filing the application and at least 10 calendar days prior to today's hearing. A minimum of 10 minutes shall be afforded for the presentation of data, evidence, and opinions on each side of a rezoning petition or a special exception. If more than 10 minutes is afforded to one side, then an equal amount of time shall be afforded to the other side. The commission does encourage its participation in this hearing, and there is no restriction on who may address the commission within the allotted time. But the commission asks that all public comments be brief, on subject and non-repetitive, and directed to the commission, not to any individual or group.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a couple of changes to our agenda. We have a couple of items that are going to be postponed, so I'm going to ask the staff to come up and read those out.
All right, so we do have a few items that are being postponed upon the request of the applicant. Is items 3, 6, and 7. First item is Z-2523 is a petition by GCC Development on behalf of Walter Sheridan Wilson Trust requesting a rezoning from Zone A agricultural to Zone B2 to develop a hotel affecting approximately 2.17 acres out of a 20.09 acre tract located at 3611 Wheeler Road. Next item is item number 6, Z-2526 is a petition by Jamin Patel on behalf of Irmac Investments Properties LLC requesting rezoning from Zone A agricultural to Zone B1 neighborhood business to develop a convenience store with a drive-through restaurant affecting properties containing approximately 1.9 acres and located at 2385 Tobacco Road and 4202 White Pine Court. And then finally, item number 7, SE 2509. This is a petition by Jamin Patel on behalf of Emmerich Investment Properties LLC requesting a special exception per section 21-2B of the of the comprehensive zoning ordinance to establish a convenience store with a drive-through restaurant affecting properties containing 1.9 acres and located at 2385 Tobacco Road and 4202 White Pine Courts. So those 3 items are being requested for postponement by the applicants.
All right, it's been properly moved and seconded to postpone these aforementioned petitions to the next planning commission meeting.
All in favor of postponement, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
Okay, so if anyone is here for either one of those and you would like to exit, we ask that you do it now, but of course you are more than welcome to stay.
And just a FYI to you all, the meeting for the next month is August the 4th. The next meeting will be August the 4th.
August the 4th will be the next planning commission meeting. The petitioners had just asked for more time to work with the staff on their particular petition.
And particularly, they wanted to work also with the community and HOA associated with that area.
You're welcome. All right, so we will continue. We'll hear the remaining petition. We'll take the agenda from top to bottom.
First, SC-25-07, a petition by N.K. Patel LLC requesting a special exception per section 21-2C of the comprehensive zoning ordinance to establish a liquor store affecting properties containing approximately 0.52 acres located at 2059 Central Avenue. Staff present.
All right, Ryan Jones, Planner 1. All right, this special exception request involves a .52 acre tract currently situated in the B1 zoning district. It's located at the corner of Central Avenue and Hurd Avenue. The site currently features a convenience store and a small gas canopy with 3 gas pumps. The request for a special exception is to establish a liquor store next to that already established convenience store under the current zoning. On Tuesday, May 20th of this year, the Augusta Commission voted to send back this application to the Planning Commission to reevaluate following the initial recommendation of this body for denial of the petition. The subject property is located within the Old Augusta character area. Redevelopment is occurring in many of the well-established neighborhoods in this area. The 2023 update to the comprehensive plan envisions that the Old Augusta character area will continue to redevelop in some neighborhoods and maintain stability in others by removing deteriorated and dilapidated structures, construct new or rehabilitate existing single-family housing, as well as new medium and high-density housing, additional commercial and office development, and new civic and institutional facilities. That vision also includes establishing new commercial and office uses and civic and institutional facilities to allow for more shopping and employment opportunities. Underutilized parcels should be redeveloped in a manner consistent with the overall vision and with respect for existing development patterns and the historic architecture in the area. Findings by planning staff regarding this special exception request. Liquor stores are not allowed by right in the B1 zone, but they may be granted with the approval of a special exception. There are prior zoning actions associated with this property. There is a special exception from 2022 that approved the convenience store to be established with conditions. The conditions of that special exception are as follows. All applicable regulations set forth in Section 21(2)B of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Augusta, Georgia must be met. Condition 2, the development must satisfy the required off-street parking standards. Condition 3, no liquor store shall be allowed on the property. In the event the new business wants to sell or serve liquor, a special exception for that express purpose shall be required. Condition 4, new construction and exterior improvements of the existing building must receive approval from the Historic Preservation Commission. On May 22nd of last year, 2024, the Augusta Commission considered a similar petition at this location where the applicant petitioned for a special exception to establish a liquor store. The Augusta Commission at that time denied the special exception request. Section 21(2)C of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance states that liquor stores are permitted by special exception in a B1 zone if they generally conform to the following criteria. 1, the nature of the surrounding area is not predominantly residential with only a few commercial uses interspersed. 2, the property is at the intersection of 2 arterial streets or within 500 feet of such an intersection. And 3, the property is not within 1,000 feet of a public park or recreation area, school, or library. The site in question would be compliant with this third condition, but it is not compliant with the first 2. The area north of the property, located along Hurd Avenue, is predominantly residential in nature. It's an R1C residential zone, and while Central Avenue is considered a minor arterial street, Hurd Avenue is considered a local street. Therefore, this property would not comply with that condition. Adjacent zoning for the property, there's B1 zoning to the west, south, and east, with R1C zoning to the north. Per the FEMA flood insurance rate maps, the property is not located within a special flood hazard area. There are also no wetlands located on the property. There is public water and sewer available at the site. Public transit does not serve this section of Central Avenue, with the nearest bus routes located along Wrightsboro Road to the south. Per the Georgia Department of Transportation, as stated, the adjacent road, Central Avenue, is a minor arterial route. The special exception staff finds to be inconsistent with the 2023 comprehensive plan update. The property is situated in the Somerville Historic District, so any new construction or exterior improvements would be subject to historic preservation review and approval. At the time of this report, staff did receive 3 letters in opposition to the petition. We also, however, did receive a petition in support of this petition. That concludes staff presentation.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? Sir, if you come forth and give us your name, address, and tell us any new details on your petition. Yes, sir, it doesn't matter.
How you doing, everybody? My name is Prayas Kumar Patel, 1222 Ursula Point, Augusta, 30907. Mr. Brad is going to speak behalf of me.
All right, sir, if you give us your name and your address.
Yeah, I'm Brad Owens. I live at 1425 Hickman Road currently, but I'm in the process of moving out of there. But I wanted to speak. Mr. Patel had asked me, well, would you like me to explain our point of view, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
about why we would like it reconsidered?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Well, fortunately, I've got notes and I have to use my glasses. I've gotten old enough where I have to use that. Good afternoon. When my friend Ken told me that our friend Paul need our help expanding his business at the Central Mart, he wanted to know if he could see if I could help. I'd been involved with different civic boards here in town for quite some time and knew how the government worked. So after meeting with Paul at his store and taking a look at what he was trying to do, after several conversations, he asked me would I be willing to come down here and present his case, maybe a little more articulate. And of course I said I would. I grew up on Hickman Road, right around the corner. I still own a house on Hickman Road. I have many memories from my childhood growing up. I would walk to Hickman Park. I'd walk over and talk to the firemen at the Central Station 7. I'd walk to the convenience store that Mr. Patel, Paul here, my friend, now owns. You know, Paul's been a good neighbor. The people that work at his store, they know me, they know my family, they know my children. I'm like the only convenience store in the neighborhood that my kids are allowed to walk to is his store because I know if there's any trouble, I'll hear about it. So that's the type of neighbor he's been to the neighborhood as far as residents. Well, here's the positives that I'd like to make you aware of that I've seen in my neighborhood since Paul has owned the store, and he bought it in 2010. Within 5 years, he did a major renovation and improved the property both in value and aesthetic using brick to replace the old facade, and it was a terrible 1970s facade. It really looked terrible, and he really brought the corner up. And that better fits in with the Somerville Association, which I am a part of and really love as well. He redesigned the parking lot. He didn't have to, but he redesigned it to increase the parking, to have more parking in advance. He also redesigned the ingress and egress of the property to make it a more efficient traffic flow for the patrons entering and exiting the property. There's been no problems on the property. There's been no police problems. They've been compliant. Paul and his employees, they respect the law, they obey the law, and they respect our neighborhood. The property's cleaner. It's better lit, it's better maintained than I've ever seen it in my life. I'm not that old, I'm only 53, but I've been going down there my whole life, and I'm telling you, it looks really good now, and my memory's not slipping yet. So I've read the dissent that staff has brought forward, and we've got a few points we'd like to address it because we disagree slightly with some of their assessments. Under section 21-2C, the current zoning allows for a package shop with a special exception on under the B1 zoning, as long as the criteria that was just outlined are met. In the staff report, it says the area is not predominantly business. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to disagree with that assessment. I understand we can look at the map and you see it's residential right behind it, but if you back the whole map up, it's very easy to see that all four corners are commercial, along with all the adjacent properties on either side. That's both sides. And actually from our corner, which is where Somerville begins, all the way to Hickman, it's 100% commercial. There's nothing on either side of the road adjacent to it that's not commercial. So we believe that the staff has looked at the property behind Paul's that's on the other side of Queensway, is separated by Queensway and fences, and said, well, there's residential on the north side, and although there's business on every single other point and up and down the road, this is the reason we say that it doesn't meet that. I'd point out that the property does not face the residential. The expansion wouldn't face residential. It's less than a 35% increase in the size of the building. If you look at the pictures that were just put up by staff, it is expanded towards another existing business, which is a laundromat next door, which is open late. So it's not being built towards the residential, it's not being built towards Hurd, it's actually being built in a direction that doesn't affect the residential behind them. So we think that, you know, you should take another look at it, the adjacent areas and the overall use of the area in our neighborhood, and take that into consideration. And that leads me to our second point of disagreement with the staff report. And I understand that there's rules and regulations about flow of traffic, that you get to call something an artery or a sub-artery. But I've been living here my whole life, and I can tell you that the corner of Central and Hurd is commercial. And Hurd runs, if you talk reality, it runs from Walton Way all the way, and it kind of snakes around and goes under the bridge everybody crashes on. But you can take that all the way to Mike Pageant Highway. You can go from Battle Road to Mike Pageant Highway and not take a left or right turn off of that road. And I've done it many times. So I would disagree, it's not an artery. If I'm going to South Augusta and everybody in our neighborhood cuts through there. So we believe that rules like that are seen somewhat arbitrary you should be able to take a view of that and nuance it a little bit based off of the reality of what's there in the neighborhood. So, you know, so our contention is that it should be considered an artery on the local level because of how much traffic it has, and it's been used that my whole life. So Central Avenue is 4 lanes from Druid Park all the way to Montesano. So from down beside Payne College all the way up to the end where it shrinks back down, it's 4 lanes. That is not a small artery. That's 4 lanes. It's just like the interstate. And if you go down there in mid-morning, you'll see coming down Central towards the hospital, it's a lot more than a slight artery. So, you know, we'd like to point that out, that maybe you could consider those points when looking at that, the staff's report. And it's overwhelming majority business along that route. It's not a lot of residential, it's a few residential sprinkled in. So this area has always been commercial center of that area for the neighborhood. It was designed to be that way, and we hope that you all will continue as the board to reconsider your recommendation and grant Paul the special exception. I'd like to point out that Paul has improved this property in every way possible. He's improved its actual value in the assessment, which means more taxes for the county. He's increased the sales, so of course there's more sales tax revenues for the county, and these all have increased. He's never had problems with compliance, no problem with the police, no problems like that. And to be honest, he's the type of business owner that I hope that you all are inviting and helping expand in our community. And I live in this neighborhood. I am not speaking for anybody but myself and Mr. Paul here. But he's created jobs and he's been a good neighbor to us. So I'd like to point out we have a petition that we collected with over 100 signatures on it. I think we've submitted it, and we did collect it at the store, but these are people. If you read the addresses, they're from the surrounding neighborhood. They're Hickman Road and Holt and Cobb Street. So we'd like to submit that, in fact, the neighborhood does support this, even if maybe the finer points of the rules make it difficult for you to side with us. So with that, I'll close my remarks and say that you've already shown pictures of it, so you see that it's a really nice aesthetic and brings up the property value. So we'd like to open up to any questions you have for Mr. Patel. I'll be glad to help answer them if there's any questions for me.
Thank you, Mr. Owens. Commissioners, do you have questions of the petitioner?
Yeah, just based on description, you're saying you live in the neighborhood, and from what I understand it's a very good store as far as the neighborhood. Are you advocating that this liquor store is going to be a commercial? You're expecting to sell those? Is it supposed to be a neighborhood liquor store, or is it supposed to be for the corridor of Central Avenue?
Well, I think it'll be both, but, you know, I look at it as more of an expansion of his business that's already done well. I'm not looking at it as a standalone. It's built right onto it. So I kind of look at it as it'll be an additional place to get something if we want it, some spirits. I don't think it's going to really be viewed one or the other. I know I'd like to have it there, living in the neighborhood around the corner.
Okay, but you understand my point listening to you. You're describing one, and they're not necessarily matching up.
No, I'm not following you. I'm sorry.
Well, you're describing it as, based off of our criteria, it's a neighborhood, and then you telling me it's all commercial.
Oh, no,
So-
along Central, it's all commercial. If you look at it from Druid Park up, there's a little bit of residential, but it's a majority commercial. Now, if you go from our corner, which it starts at Somerville, and go to Hickman, which is the next block up, which you know, the artery is Troop, which is the second light up. So between us and Troop, there's nothing but businesses, really. There's, I think, one residential between us and the artery, and it's 4 lanes from Troop all the way down to where we are. So what I'm saying is we kind of disagree that it's not on an already heavily traveled commercial road, if that's the objection.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any of the commissioners have questions? Okay, seeing none. Anybody in the audience oppose this petition? Seeing none. Okay, on the count. Ma'am, would you like to express your objection at the microphone? If you could come up and give us your name and your address. And you have a balance of 10 minutes, ma'am, if you could make your comments direct to this commission.
My name is Annette Thurman. I live at 4613 Shadow Moss Court, Augusta, Georgia. Looking at what he was describing as he was talking, one point he made is that Hurd Avenue runs all the way to Mike Paget. It does not. It did before you get to Gordon Highway. There are many residences along Central Avenue. But yes, it is. There are some commercial establishments. There are more medical and neighborhood for sure. There is a coffee shop. There is a medical facility. Those are the type of other establishments that are there, along with a gas station across the street, or cat-a-corner from him, if I'm correct, if that's the correct intersection I'm looking at. And so, no, we do not need another alcohol establishment in a neighborhood. That's my only objection.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Anyone else want to speak on their opposition? If not, we'll bring that portion to a close. Anyone in the audience that is in support of this petition? Count a couple if you want to count them. Do you have a spokesperson? Anyone want to speak, express their support? Okay. Okay, sir, you can make your way up to the podium. Chairman O'Neill.
Of the supporters, who lives in the neighborhood?
Okay, can I see the show of hands of the people from the supporters who live in that neighborhood adjacent to the store?
I think they're counting.
Anybody counting? Got a number? That suffices. Okay. All right. Sir, if you could come up and give us your name and your address, and you have 10 minutes as well to express your support. Thank you.
My name is Ed Osterberg. I'm at 1729 Kissingbauer Road. As it was pointed out, that is an all-commercial area. It's 450 foot to the first residence along Central Avenue, and that's going eastbound. Going westbound, it is even further than that, as it's mostly all commercial. And I guess you said there's one residence between Hurd and Troop Street. It would fit the neighborhood. And as you look at, first let me go to what it says, and it says that the criteria are subjective and objective. The only true objective one is the distance to a park or a school, which does not apply here, as they already said. As far as the others, the residential portion is a subjective one. If you look at most of the businesses that are along that street or anywhere else, they back up to residential, which is really common. You can find a lot of that even in downtown. It's not abnormal. But along the street itself, it is commercial. There is no other package shop as far as a full package shop with hard liquor in that area. So yes, it would serve the neighborhood. And no, I don't drink hard liquor.
Noted.
It's just that he has done a nice job. He runs a good business. If most people ran their business that way, you wouldn't have trash all over the streets because they go out and they police the lot. So to try and find an objection to it makes me wonder who the objecting letter was from, why they sent it. Unfortunately, it's not required to be disclosed. And this is why your commission, your plan commission, has evidently decided against it. I hate to mention politics, but I'm wondering if it involves some politics. As far as two other liquor stores, the closest in proximity to it, one is Ace, it's Augusta Ace, or whatever it is, over on Walton Way. If you look at that, that technically is next to commercial, but in reality, most of that is multi-residential. So what's the question? You know, we're splitting hairs here, because actually that is residential. And on Kissingbauer, a quarter-mile away from where I live, which would be the other liquor store, well, gee, there are only 4 business locations at that intersection. It's the most bizarre intersection. It's offset with Walden Way on one and White Road. If anybody's familiar with it, you have to make a turn to go across the tracks. I can see somebody is familiar with that. Must have been caught there a couple times. But other than that, it is solid residential. It backs up to residential. It's adjacent to residential. And yet, nobody seems to have a problem with that. Once again, I'm asking you to take a look at what's objective and what's subjective, and it's not necessarily outside your purview to come up with a decision contrary to the Plan Commission. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. All right, staff recommendations.
The Planning Commission recommends denial of the special exception request as it is not in compliance with Section 21-2C of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance because the nature of the surrounding area is predominantly residential and the parcel is not located at the intersection of 2 arterial streets or within 500 feet of such an intersection.
All right, planning commissioners, you have heard the recommendation from staff. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to support the staff.
I'll second it.
Is So just for clarification, that's a motion to deny.
Right.
I guess they have a motion in a second.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor for special exception 2507 to deny by Larry C. and Commissioner Smith. Want to do all in favor, roll call? Roll call?
Yeah, let's
All
do a
right.
voice,
Okay.
voice vote.
All right, so Commissioner O'Neill, how do you vote? Is it yes or no to deny? You didn't say nothing? You use your microphone. You want me to come back?
No to deny.
Commissioner Prince?
No to deny.
Commissioner Davis?
No.
Commissioner Malice?
No to deny.
Commissioner Lacey?
No, deny. Yeah,
Yes.
to deny.
Yes to deny.
Yes,
yes.
I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. Commissioner McKnight?
Yes to deny.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Owens?
No.
Commissioner Spencer?
No.
And Commissioner Cooks?
No.
All right, so special exception 2509, motion to deny has failed. So we have to do another one.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
Turn your mic on, Commissioner Malice.
How did it? I don't
And
understand.
that was a motion to approve?
Point of clarity.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Cooks.
Help me understand what we're doing here.
So the main motion was to deny, and it failed. So now they're voting to approve the special exception.
Can I ask the staff a question? Mr. Chairman?
But but there.
I think there was.
So there's a motion on the floor. It's been moved and seconded to approve special exception 2507.
Chair, I think Commissioner Cook is asking what was the account on the prior vote?
Okay. All right. What?
I have 4 yeses to denies and 7 nos to not deny.
So now we're back to the motion to approve. It has been moved and properly second to approve the special exception.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve with limiting the store hours to 6 PM.
Okay, so that's a substitute motion.
Yes.
All right. Okay, there's been a substitute motion.
Chair, do we need to know what the business operation hours
That's what I
are
was getting
before
ready
we?
to say. I think we need to, let's take a pause here and first see if the petitioners is open to that, if they're amenable to those hours that's being proposed. No, it's Commissioner Smith seconded.
And Chair,
So-
and Chair, one other point of clarification, Commissioner Locke, are you specifically saying the liquor business to close at 6 or the entire business?
Just this motion. I don't think we have the right to go against this argument, just on the liquor store license.
So just a liquor store license he's referencing.
Okay, so just for clarification, Commissioner McKnight's motion is to restrict the hours of the liquor store operations to Commissioner McKnight. What's the proposed hours that you're proposing?
6 PM.
To close at 6 p.m. And I'm gonna defer to legal. Is that problematic?
It's not legally problematic.
Okay. Commissioner.
Can we change that to 10? I mean, 6?
That's not the motion, though.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
He got a second.
He does have a second?
He has a second.
Okay, okay.
So the motion is
I was just asking you to change
allow them to operate until 6 o'clock. That would be what the motion is. So we need to
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I think it'd be proper to ask the.
Yeah, I
if
did.
If he's
Yeah,
adhering to this.
I think they're
or if
deliberating.
he's got something.
So to the petitioner, are you amenable to those conditions?
Currently we're open till midnight at the convenience store. Mr. Chairman, if Mr. McKnight, would 9 p.m. be would that be a good compromise? 9 p.m. would give us a lot of room there instead of 6. If Mr. McKnight's willing to amend his motion, we'd be fine with that.
Yeah. Commissioner, would you be open to amending your motion?
I would like to amend my motion to 9 p.m.
Is there a second on his amended motion? No.
I'll second it.
Okay, so it's been moved and properly second to approve the special exception restricting the business hours of the liquor store operations to close at 9 p.m.
Let's do a roll call vote on this one as well. All right, so Commissioner Davis, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Malice?
Yes.
Commissioner Spencer?
Yes.
Commissioner Owens? Commissioner Clark?
No.
Commissioner Cooks?
No.
Commissioner Smith?
No.
Commissioner Prince?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Neill?
Yes.
Commissioner Liercy?
No.
And Commissioner McKnight?
Yes.
All right, so special exception 2507 has been approved with the staff recommendation of closing at 9 p.m.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, if you are going to exit, we ask you to do that now. You don't have to, but if you would like to, please do so at this time. Okay, all right, let's continue our agenda.
Z-25-22, a petition by Southern Civil Solutions LLC on behalf of Property Developers LLC requesting a rezoning from zoning R1A, one family residential, and A agriculture to zone R1E, one family residential, to develop a townhome community affecting properties containing approximately 49.22 acres located at 3330 Gibson Road, 2346, 2358, and 4342 Old McDuffie Road. Staff present.
Kevin Boyd, Development Services Manager, and this is a request changing the zoning from a combination of R1A and agricultural to R1E to support a single-family attached townhome development per section 13. This application involves 4 adjacent residential tracts totaling 49.22 acres. This was first brought to you during our May meeting. Petitioners have since eliminated a few of the properties along Gibson. They maintain 3330 Gibson Road, and they added 3 additional properties, 2346, 2358, and 4342 Old McDuffie Road to the overall site development. The petition seeks to rezone the properties for the townhome development containing 299 lots. The tracts are currently vacant, undeveloped land. The concept plan presented with this application proposes the following. 299 attached townhome units with lot widths of 26 feet and overall density of 6.07 units per acre. 15.4 acres of open space, public streets throughout the development with access on Mason Road and Old McDuffie Road. Guest parking spaces dispersed throughout the development, mail kiosks, clubhouse and a pool, 4 stormwater retention ponds, and a 15-foot buffer surrounding the development on 3 sides. In terms of findings, There are no recent zoning history for the properties. In the R1E zone, the proposed developments must maintain a 25% open space. This development offers approximately 31% open space, which satisfies the zoning requirement. The site has access to public water, but not sanitary sewer. According to the FEMA flood insurance rate maps firm, the properties are not located within a special flood hazard area. According to the Augusta-Richmond County GIS map layer, there are no wetlands located on the properties. Public transit is not available near the subject properties. According to the Georgia Department of Transportation State Functional Classification Map 2017, Mason Road is classified as a local road, and as well as Old McDuffie actually is a major collector. According to the preliminary traffic impact worksheet, traffic engineering has determined that a traffic study is not necessary with this development. The proposed development provides 2 parking spaces per driveway, which totals 598 driveway spaces. The development must provide 75 guest parking spaces, but has actually exceeded that with 80 spaces. The adjacent zoning includes R1A, one family residential agricultural properties to the south or zone R1A, and then there's R1E zoning in the area as well. The proposed zone change to R1E will be consistent with the 2023 comprehensive plan. However, the overall density of the area is approximately 4.3 units per acre, with this development exceeding the average density by 1.77 units per acre. And at the completion of this staff report, staff has received many inquiries, far less so than the initial requests and layout that was presented, and that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you. Is the petitioner present? All right, sir, if you could come up and give us your name, address, and any new details on your petition.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Kavyesh Trivedi. I live at 393 Belarus Drive in Evans, Georgia. I represent the developer, essentially. So we have, this development was here before you in May, and we have addressed many of the concerns that were raised at that time. The density was close to 8. We have reduced it to around 6. And also, we have had like multiple community meetings on this property, and we have taken the concerns of neighbors into heart, and all the exits and everything that was disturbing the existing neighborhoods have been removed. So now it's just going on the Collector Road and one on the Mason Road. So from day one, we have been working with planning department to kind of make sure that we are following all the rules and regulations of the county. And we believe and we are committed to kind of complying with all the rules and regulations going future. I believe this would be a beautiful project that will add to the variety of housing that's needed in the area and also give an impetus to the local economy. And other than that, we had very positive feedback in the last community meeting where we met with the people and shared our plan again. We are thankful to the planning department and the commissioners that for the area commissioners that have been helping us to arrange the community meeting so that we can solicit the feedback. And we have made an honest attempt at kind of improving and addressing all the feedback that was presented to us. So hopefully we can move forward with this project and see the benefits it brings to the community.
Thank you. Commissioners, you have questions of the petitioner?
Chair.
Commissioner Spencer.
Hi.
Hello.
I think it's wonderful, but are you planning on this is just for informational purposes, for marketing these properties as for rental or for sale?
Yeah, we had that at the community meetings too. No, at this moment we are planning to have a builder build and sell it as a residential community. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Additional questions for commissioners? Mr. Smith.
I have a question for the staff. Kevin?
Yes, sir.
The report says that traffic engineering has determined a traffic study is not necessary. Is somebody here from traffic engineering?
Mr. Usher? Yeah, John Ushery with traffic engineering, he could come up and speak.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. How can I help you?
So my concern is we're adding a lot of density. We're having a lot of, I mean, it's self-evident. Old McDuffie Road is a small road, and the traffic density currently was so great out there that we were forced to build a roundabout. And yet you're telling us that a traffic study wasn't needed. That doesn't make sense to me. If it warranted a roundabout because of the amount of traffic out there, then how do we not have a traffic study, how this is going to impact the rest of the community?
So I think you may be misunderstanding the need for a traffic study. It doesn't mean that we're not going to make them do improvements in the area that's adjacent to this development. But a full-blown traffic study, which is expensive, typically tells us things like, does the road need to be widened? Do you need traffic signals? You know, those types of big major improvements. For this particular development, based on the traffic worksheet that we had them fill out that shows the level of service stays the same, or it's affected in just in a small way, is not necessary. So we, like I said, we'll work with them to make sure that the traffic is mitigated, but I don't need a $30,000 traffic study to tell me what that is. So that's why we recommended that a full traffic study not be done, but we will continue to work with the developer during the plan stage to make sure that everything that is necessary will be installed. As you can see, Old McDuffie Road in particular, it currently has a average daily traffic of about 4,700 vehicles per day. In this area where this development is, it'll bump it up to about 5,500. A two-lane road, if properly managed, can accommodate about 8,000 to 10,000 vehicles per day. So we're still well underneath that threshold.
I just disagree with what you're telling me, because if it was so great a need at that intersection that we had to put a roundabout down there, the people turning left out of this development onto Old McDuffie Road are going to have the same obstacles that they had down the street when we put the roundabout. So I just disagree with your position. I wanted to make that a part of the record, and I think that we could have done a better job by getting a traffic study. So that's just my point. Thank you for your time.
All right, additional questions, commissioners? Anybody in the audience oppose this petition? Okay. Anybody support this petition, support or opposition? All right, okay. All right, well, hold that. Anybody in support? All right, do you have a spokesperson? Anyone want to come and speak, express your support? If not, we'll just get a count. Yes, sir. You give us your name and your address.
Good afternoon. My name is Andrew Jordan Davis. I have properties at 2316 Mason, 2319, 2321, 2311, 2309, and 3340 Milledgeville Road, which is approximately about 12 acres in the area. I have been very appreciative of the property developers and everything with their meetings, as well as Don Clark, Commissioner Clive. With all that being said, my concern with the traffic as well is we've had that roundabout put in 5 or 6 years ago. Wondering, it's more, that's been addressed at that end of the Old McDuffie. What about at Lumpkin, where it's a corner, an ongoing corner yield? So that, I think, is where traffic needs to be addressed, as well as the traffic going into Mason Drive, which would affect where the 80 houses that are currently being built there. So my concern is not with the developers and rezoning the property, but the plan and process in Richmond County, City of Augusta, as far as I've talked to the water utilities and just getting the roads and everything. If we're going to improve the sewer, make it available to other property owners in the area. I wouldn't mind paying extra to get sewer, as well as improving the water conditions. And the other thing, other than traffic on Old McDuffie, is the street light situation. There's no lighting. So as far as traffic is one thing, but then sidewalks, there's a lot more that goes into the infrastructure than just the road. And I think that's out of their control and more on the city. And we have, as a community, have gotten together and worked with them, and appreciative for all the meetings that have gone on with Don Clark and with them. And we have all kind of joined to where now I'm speaking for it. But my concern is still just these steps in the process, which comes through the departments working together as a team to get the utilities done before the road gets improved, not going back and improving the utilities after the road has been improved, if it does. But my concern, like I said, would be not the main, because that's one of the things I recommended, was increasing the property, which they were luckily able to acquire more property to make this project a huge success for the area. But my concern would be still the traffic flow and that being addressed to improve the road conditions that way. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Staff recommendations.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner.
a couple of questions.
Okay. To whom?
And this is to the staff and to the young man making that. Would it be acceptable to put that sewer would have to be, that the houses have to be hooked up to sewer before construction?
So this development, if approved by the commission, is subject to site plan review and approval. So it'll start off as a development plan review in which the engineer on record of the project would submit to the city for the various development departments to come and review. They will install those streets, the infrastructure before the lot could be subdivided. But it would be related to the actual subject property and not necessarily any adjacent parcels. That would have to be a city initiative and a separate approval. Does that make sense?
Well, I think that the young man back there that's talking about living in the neighborhood, how there's no sewer back there, and you putting 300 houses on septic tanks is kind of concerning me here.
Good afternoon. My name is Gary Bennett with Southern Civil Solutions. I will be the engineer of record on the project. There is sewer located at Mason Drive, and we will extend the sewer up Mason Drive into the development and to serve the development. We'll also do a roadway improvement on Mason Drive to get the traffic, to work with the traffic department during the site plan review, like Kevin mentioned. So those two items will be addressed in our final design documents with the full engineering. This is just the conceptual, and we'll dig into the weeds when we get into the engineering design.
Okay, all right, so I'd like to make a general statement right now since we're getting right here, and I've got the engineer in front of me. Look, about 2.5 years ago, we started a construction sustainability process in Richmond County because we have run into a lot of these townhomes that use substandard materials, and they get through the inspection process. And what happens is the hard-working people of this county go out and they take a loan to own their own house, and then 5 years down the road, we have light fixtures falling down, vinyl siding being blown off, and they can't afford to fix it up. So it becomes a detriment to the community, and it does the exact opposite of what we're trying to do, provide housing for the people here. It makes it where they can't live there in a happy manner. And so I'm just going on the statement is that it is hard for me to approve townhomes when we are allowing below standards to be constructed in this county. And that's the statement I'm having. In the statement, what I would like to know is whether or not y'all would be able to take away the vinyl siding issue and not have agree to not have vinyl siding on the project.
Again, commissioners, just so you are aware, we are the developers. We are not the actual builders. But by all means if what we have created means, and some of our properties that we had shared, some of the kind of like the elevations and stuff that show the houses, and none of them means we have houses there, some new properties and everything, and they have means townhomes even that we have owned. They are fine even after 10 years or more. So I don't have the data before that, how long it will go. So it's not going to be substandard materials because the builders kind of do it, but I don't know if there is a building standard that you guys can impose that where this building kind of does not use vinyl, we would be okay with that. It's just that I'm the developer, so I really can't promise something that I'm not going to build, right? That's the problem what I have with that.
Yes, sir, I understand. It's just a question. Would you agree to say that you're not going to use vinyl siding on the project?
So what do you propose? Means, is there something else or just you are opposed to vinyl siding?
I don't want to restrict you. I just don't, I'm opposed to vinyl siding.
Okay.
Not to say that there aren't good vinyl sidings out there, but it's just the best. I just take that out of the equation in my mind.
Okay. Give me a second if I can talk with my team, if that's okay.
Sure.
So Commissioner McKnight, are you asking for them to consider a particular action?
Yes, I think there's 30% allowed, and I'm trying to say that just take out all vinyl siding.
Okay, well,
Mr. Chairman, that's what I was about to say. You can't do that. You can't ask them that.
okay, so I'm being told that, excuse me, if I can get the petitioner back to the podium. No, I'm talking to the petitioner. So I'm being told that you don't have to consider that request.
Okay.
So let's hear the staff recommendations.
The Planning Development staff recommends approval of the rezoning request to R1E with the following condition. There should be a minimum lot width of 26 feet. There should be 40-foot front setbacks along Old McDuffie Road. The development must have alternative elevations with at least 9 different. Oh Lord, my brain. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Facades, all alternating and none with more than 30% vinyl siding. Parking spaces should be evenly dispersed throughout the development with no more than 5 spots in a row. Sidewalks are required on both sides of the street within the subdivision. Additionally, sidewalks must be extended to Mason Road along Old McDuffie Road, ending at the intersection of Old McDuffie Road and Wind Drive. 10-foot street yards is required along Old McDuffie Road. The 15-foot undisturbed tree buffer shall encompass the overall site along the side and rear boundaries. The development must comply with all aspects of Augusta Tree Ordinance. The development must provide at least 25% open space. Such space may include common areas, buffers, landscape yards, water feature areas, and natural areas. However, detention ponds do not count towards this requirement. All amenities, i.e. dog parks, playgrounds, etc., must be included within development, installed and fully operational prior to the 150th certificate occupancy being issued. Mason Drive must be improved to meet the current roadway specifications of Augusta Engineering to support the proposed traffic for this development. Approval of this rezoning request does not constitute approval of the conceptual site plan submitted with the rezoning application. The proposed development shall obtain site plan approval in compliance with the site plan regulation of Augusta, Georgia prior to construction commenced on this property. The development of the property shall comply with the development standards and regulations set forward by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia. As amended at the time of development, this includes compliance with the dead-end streets, turnaround requirements, perpendicular of the street parking, and the street length requirements.
That's the end of the recommendations.
I recommend approval.
Oh, wait a second. Or do you accept those conditions?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, all right. Chair will entertain a motion.
I recommend approval with recommendations.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly seconded to.
I don't think we asked if anybody opposed, did we?
Or did we skip?
Did
that?
we?
Oh, I apologize. Let me no, we did, because this gentleman spoke, and yeah, we did do that. All right, it's been moved and properly seconded to approve this petition with conditions.
I'd like to offer a substitute motion, Mr. Chairman.
All right,
I'd like to offer a motion to lower the density by an additional 25%. Make sure we don't end
I'll
up
second that.
building a shoebox.
okay. So there has been a substitute motion and a proper second to the petitioner. Are you are you amenable to the reduction in density?
To make it clear, right, the property is zoned for R1A, which allows 4 units per acre. Earlier plan that we had was close to around, I think, 7 point something, but close to 8 per acre, let's say. Now we have reduced it by buying additional land to 6 per acre. So it is like R1E allows up to 10 units per acre, and we are way below that. Like, means after a certain time, we have put in considerable effort and planning to kind of like get here. So I don't think it really makes a project feasible unless there is something by the code that we are not following that would help you there. Means we definitely will adhere to the building codes and everything, right? The builder has to do that, but there's nothing. Means can you explain what the density will help, or if there is a reason why we need the density to reduce even more?
Okay, thank you. All right, so there has been a motion and a second. Voting.
I have a question for staff. So, is he meeting the density right now as it's written?
It's below it.
Yeah, that was, it was just.
Yeah, it's 6. Yeah.
It was just a.
Was R1E zoning?
Yeah.
So I think it's 10.89 units per acre by right. So he's far below that.
Okay, so we're voting. Yeah, because it got a second.
All right, so there's a substitute motion on the floor to approve Z2522, but to lower the density by 25%.
Mr. Chairman, that'd be 75, I'd take it down to 225 units or 26 units.
Right.
Is it 225?
225 with a density of around 4.57 units per acre.
And what's he currently have? 299. Okay. All right, so we're going to do a roll call vote, okay? Let's see who I want to start with. Go ahead.
So if he's saying he cannot do that, we still vote on it? Or he's not willing to reduce it? Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah. Right, yeah, voting.
All right, so, okay, Commissioner Spencer, how do we vote? Yes, that's to lower the density by 25%.
No.
You said no? Where's Spencer at? Okay, Commissioner Smith?
I vote to support.
Okay. All right, Commissioner Owens is out. Commissioner Cooks?
Yes, support.
Commissioner Clark?
No to lower the density.
Commissioner O'Neill?
No to lower the density.
Okay. Commissioner Prince?
No.
Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Malice? Yes. Commissioner Lacey?
Yes.
And Commissioner McKnight?
Yes.
4, 5, 6. Okay, so Z2522 has been approved with staff recommendations to lower the density by 25%. Are you okay with that?
All right. So that will move forward to the full commission with the recommendation to approve with the reduction. Okay. All right, so we're good. So when will the next, when will the commission meeting be, Amber?
July the 15th,
July the 15th? All right, sir.
next Tuesday.
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on. All right, Kevin, are you presenting the next petition? Oh, Brian, okay, all right.
Right now, like you said, he can come back and then he's way below his density right now. That's what I'm saying. The man went and cut everything down.
All right, Brian Kepner, zoning administrator, planning and zoning development. Item number 4, a petition by Longleaf Manor LLC on behalf of Susan C. Johnson, Cletus Johnson, William J. Glisson Jr. et al., requesting a rezoning from Zone R1A, one family residential, to Zone PUD, planned unit development, to develop a mixed-use development affecting properties containing approximately 12.7 acres located at 831, 833, 835, 837, 839, 841, and 843 Stevens Creek Road. As stated, this is a request to change from R1A to a planned unit development. The planned unit development would consist of single-family attached, detached, duplex, multifamily, and commercial uses. These are 7 vacant parcels located at the intersection of Stevens Creek Road and Riverwatch Parkway. The proposed PUD would consist of the following: approximately 2.6 acres of commercial area with 27,300 square feet of retail space, allowing permitted uses within the B2 zoning district with some restrictions. Some of those restrictions would be like pawn shops, flea markets, crematoriums, video game rooms, arcades, recreational vehicle parks, telephone office and call centers, and automobile service centers. SOPs would not be permitted. The residential portion would be approximately 10.4 acres in size, consisting of 136 homes or dwellings, consisting of single-family homes, townhomes, 2-family duplexes, and multifamily flats. It would be 19 3-bedroom townhomes, 85 2-bedroom detached homes, attached townhomes and duplex units, 16 1-bedroom flats, 16 2-bedroom flats. The proposed 1- and 2-bedroom multifamily buildings will be 3 stories in height, not to exceed 55 feet in height, with the remaining residential units being 2 stories. The residential portion would be a gated lease community and would not be available for fee simple title. They propose a 20-foot landscape buffer that will be placed around the entire development. The initial design of the proposed development sets aside approximately 3.85 acres, or 29% of the development, for open space, for recreational amenities and landscaping. The required minimum is 15%. Internal streets will be private, measuring 27 feet curb width curb face to curb face, with street parking on one side and sidewalks on both sides of the streets. 417 parking spaces are proposed for the development. Surface parking lots will accommodate the required off-street parking for multifamily and commercial uses. Many single-family residentials will have garages or driveways to provide 2 spaces per dwelling unit. Residential units that do not have garages or driveways will have parking areas, and on-street parking will be available. Required guest parking will be available with on-street parking. Building setbacks will be 8 feet from edge of sidewalk for street-faced buildings and 6 feet for buildings facing open green spaces. A minimum of 10 feet will be required between structures to meet fire code compliance. Augusta Transit does not have available within a half mile, is not available within a half mile of the proposed development. Access to the PUD would be from Stevens Creek Road and Mayo Road. Per the Georgia Department of Transportation Functional Classification Map 2017, Riverwatch Parkway is identified as a major arterial street, and Stevens Creek Road is identified as a collector street. Mayo Road is classified as a local road. Traffic Engineering Department has reviewed the preliminary traffic impact study worksheet submitted with the application and determined that a full traffic impact study will not be required. Oh, is. I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Sorry about that. According to the FEMA flood insurance rate maps, the property is not located within a special flood hazard area. According to the Augusta-Richmond County GIS wetlands layer, there are no national wetlands located on the property. This rezoning is consistent with aspects of the 2023 comprehensive plan, which supports revitalization of vacant and underutilized lots and create greater housing opportunities. At the time of completion of the report, staff has received inquiries about the application. Some have expressed opposition, some were just inquiring, and that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Is the petition present? All right, sir, if you can come up and give us your name and your address and any new details on your petition.
Thank you, Chairman Pooser. Let's see if I can use flash drive, if I can pull it up like I did last time. Would I hit to switch to this? All right, my name is Jim Trotter. My address is 3615 Walton Way Extension. I'm up here with Joel Presley from North Augusta, and we're representing the developer here on this project today. And we're excited to bring this to the commission because honestly, I don't think there's been anything in Richmond County quite like this. And this is a gateway project for Richmond County, honestly. We all know where this location is. Probably many of you drive by it, if not daily, certainly weekly. I know that I do. I want to make it clear, too, that the developer is local. The builder is local. It's affiliated with Winchester Homes. They traditionally build single-family homes throughout the region. They're currently developing a big project on Pleasant Home Road. They are working with architects who have developed this very product in many different locations already around Atlanta, Chattanooga, Athens, a lot of great communities that love and are welcoming these projects. Winchester or TJ Washburn and this particular group are developing projects like this in Kansas right now, as well as in Athens. We're excited to bring it to Augusta, and we really think it could be a big hit in Augusta. I want to address a few points. First of all, there's no vinyl siding.
Smart learner, Jim.
This is all very high quality construction. It is primarily going to be hardy board, hardy plank, and brick. It is architectural shingles and metal roofs. This is a very high quality product, and you can see it from the pictures we've put in here. This is a concept commercial plan, site plan. This corner on Stevens Creek and Riverwatch will be a commercial subject to the limitations that are in the staff report, if approved by this commission. I know that in the pre-meeting, there was a question about some prior corners or prior developments for convenience stores that were denied. I believe that those did not have an access this far north up Stevens Creek Road. Their access point was much further down here, and it created a host of problems. You can see the development through here. There's also a city park here, and when we first met, actually we first met with Carla Delaney, and I wish she were here to support this with us because she was really excited about this one, and especially excited about connecting it to the park next door. So that's part of the plan as well. The neighborhood commercial is, it may be a convenience store. There's nothing in the plans yet, but it's traditionally small shops that you see in those small shopping center strips a brick facade, a lot of metal, a lot of high-quality development. There are some attached units, but primarily there are detached units. This is a typical look of a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath detached unit. And yes, certainly this is a high-density development, but it's roughly 10 units an acre. An apartment complex, the traditional garden-style apartment, is in the 16 to 17 unit per acre range. These are a little bit higher priced as well because of the quality that they're going to be. And what the developers in other areas who have built projects like this, a planned community is really what it is. Planned community tenants stay a lot longer. Their leases average 3 to 4 years, not 1 year, because the people go there and they want to live there. It's not necessarily for families. It is younger professionals, but it's also a lot of retiring folks who are getting out of their homes where they have yards to maintain. This is all maintained. This is, when I hadn't heard of a mansion flat before. I don't know if any of you have been to Athens, but they've just built 2 of these downtown, right off, what's that road, Catherine? You know what I'm talking about. Right off Prince Avenue, I believe, and West Hancock. But this is a mansion flat. It looks like a house. It's actually got a couple of units built into it. These are more looks of the detached houses. Again, this is not vinyl siding at all. This is some look of what we expect the commercial area to look like. So we envision an area that is walkable. There'll be parking for everyone there. There's no, the parking, every unit will have its own dedicated parking. There'll be some street parking for some units and some guests, but it will be designed in a way that those that live there can walk to all the commercial areas, and will be encouraged to do so for sure. The primary access, there'll be access in and out of Stevens Creek Road, but there will also be gated access up on Mayo Road up here for the residences only. It will not become a cut through for people to try to come out of the commercial and get out on Mayo Road. That will not be permitted. Staff pointed out the green space that's been allocated is double the minimum requirement. It's 30% instead of 15%. Not just because we have to do that, but because that's what renters want. That's what the people want. The ultimate end users want that available green space and recreation facilities. Brian also pointed out, I just want to reiterate it because this is not always the case when we're seeking rezonings, but this one actually complies and is supported by not just the CSRA Regional Commission Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy from 2023, but also the Envision Augusta, the city's comprehensive plan. It supported this. The Envision Augusta comprehensive plan states that mixed-use development will be encouraged on sites being redeveloped. It states that the idea of the comprehensive plan is to promote mixed-use development at appropriate locations to reduce development footprint, encourage more bicycle pedestrian trails, create a sense of place, reduce a reliance on automobiles by using sidewalks, bike lanes, and multi-use trails to connect residential neighborhoods to schools, parks, community centers, greenways, neighborhood businesses. That's exactly what this does. I'm a little surprised there hadn't been anything in Augusta like this before. It's an ambitious project, but I think this is a perfect corridor for Augusta to welcome this type of development. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have.
All right, thank you, sir. Well, I know you answered Commissioner McKnight's question, but questions from other commissioners. Commissioner Spencer.
I think it's a wonderful project and development. Was there a reason why, when it was being planned, that you did not want to sell any of the units there?
Well, we don't think that the market right now supports that. And I heard you in the Planning Commission, and I agree with you. I've made a living on developers and builders selling properties. Unfortunately, the market's changed a lot. There was a 2022 study we cited in our PUD document that said by this year, 85% of households will not be a family household. And the younger generations coming up don't necessarily want the big yards, and they want a turnkey living arrangement, and that's what we think the market will
I'm
support.
familiar with PUDs in North Carolina. My uncle, who's 98, lives in something very similar, but he owns his own unit. So when he passes on, he's passing equity, and he's been there for 15, 20 years.
There's also some studies out that say, and I think this is a travesty for the country and the middle class primarily, but first-time home buyers are not in their 30s anymore. They're pushing up into the 50s, which is a shame. But I know that there's a lot of developments looking to support that. But those first-time home buyers, when they're buying, are looking for a bigger yard, less density for sure, because they're starting families. The value of this corner, fortunately necessitates this as opposed to a more traditional single-family home, which this builder is building over on Pleasant
Can I
Home
ask
Road.
one last question about this? Who will manage, like in an apartment, you have a manager. Who will be managing, on-site management?
Yes, there will be on-site management. The group that will do it has not been determined yet, but it will be built locally and managed locally as well.
Thank you.
Commissioner, if you had something.
Yes, I got something for the staff. Can we make sure that we correct the handout that you gave us that said there will not be a traffic study to indicate that there will be one, or can we make that part of the record?
Well, as I stated it, that will be part of the record, but what we forward to the Augusta Commission, that will be revised.
Thank you. Jim, I got one question for you. Can you point out where the duplex is going to be in this picture?
I'll let Joel tell that exactly. Is that the best one to look at?
There are only a few. They are at the south end of the site along Riverwatch on either side of the detention facility.
It's those
See those
pink buildings
pink buildings?
on either side of that pond.
Those are the duplexes. And just while we're on the topic, on the other boundary up along Mayo, those orange units that have the little connecting bridge area, those are the semi-detached units. So those are essentially detached units, but they have that park under. Jim will show you a photograph here. One of the projects that our planner and architect, and we based this on, was in Midtown Atlanta called Manchester. And go to the photographs. This right here, that's a semi-detached unit, that picture on the left. That's what we're calling a bridge unit. So when you're looking at the land plan, that kind of reads like a townhome. That's not. That's this product. It's in essence a detached home.
Duplexes just always raise the hair on the back of my neck.
I understand. There's another term for it, semantics. Down in Tampa, we were doing a project, and it was called a paired villa. So these are high-end. These are renters by choice. Like Jim mentioned, these are young professionals, young couples, and active adults primarily who are choosing to live here. So they actually don't mind that party wall because they want to lock and leave for 30 days and not have to worry about anything outside. They have a backyard, they have a garage, they have 3 exterior walls, and it allows us to afford a site like this. If you look around this intersection and you see the apartments, the townhomes, the commercial, the industrial, up and down Riverwatch, it's driven by the value of the land. So what we're trying to do here is bring some of that together, support the cost of the land, and still have a mixed-use project that can withstand.
I like your project. I just don't like the duplex.
Let's call them paired villas.
It's just very few of them. Very few of them,
Yeah.
Commissioners.
Okay, commissioners, any additional questions? Okay, if not, anybody in the audience oppose this project? You have one. Ma'am, would you like to express your opposition or just want us to note it? You have to come to the podium. And if you could first give us your name and address.
Jennifer Lacey, 723 Stillwater Drive, Augusta, Georgia. I'm not fully opposed to it. I just have some concerns in regards to the density. I do think it's a great plan. I read through it last night, but I live in the Brookfield subdivision, and I feel like this development will have some of the similar concerns of one that we were in opposition to a few years ago. The entrance, or a primary, I think, resident entrance is going to be off of Mayo Road. I'm very happy to hear that there will be a traffic study. The one that we were in opposition to before was only 74 units. So this being 136 units, and then also kind of in the plan, what it addressed was roughly 136 units with the potential to go up to 160, or 29% of the green space with the potential to go down to that restriction. So I didn't know if there could be some stipulations that would hold to the plan or potentially reduce that density there in that area. I also have concerns that once a planned unit goes in, I'm very excited about the quality if it does go through. But I do have concerns that that opens up, once we have apartments on one side of the road, then that opens up more developers wanting to come back in on the other side of the road with 74 to 100 plus units. So then we're looking at an influx of, if this would to go through, 274-ish people, all of them will have, cars going around, because they would be young professionals. It's not going to be kids living in that area or older people. The development on the other side of the road was looking at more of family units. So that would be an additional, so if it, I'm just kind of looking at what's it getting the ball rolling for once it comes in. I do recognize the need for this type of housing in Augusta. I recognize that a lot of families are moving out just for school zone reasons and things like that. And I do recognize, a need for it. I just have concerns with it in my backyard with that much of an influx of people, of traffic. It's not necessarily a designated wetland or floodplain, but in that area, as they have on the plan, there are streams going through across the street. There are also streams going through, so there's wildlife living there right now that will be disrupted. It'll come back into the neighborhood. When you enter off of Mayo, if you're headed out to Stevens Creek, it's not easy to get off, so I think that traffic will be pushed back down Mayo and through the Brookfield neighborhood out onto the light on the Fierce Ferry. So that's going to be a concern for our residents. Is the land, I had a question on if it was an easement versus it's something that they had already procured in order to get onto to Mayo. And then I also had concerns with the connectivity to the park. Right now, the park is not being super well maintained. There's still, the lights are still out from Hurricane Helene. The splash pad is not working. So is the city prepared to also back that infrastructure and improve the park so it makes it viable for the residents? Because if I'm in a high-end neighborhood, am I gonna actually pay high-end prices to connect to a park that's not functioning properly? So those are more my concerns. I do think the plan is well laid out. I have a lot of concerns on the location and feasibility of it coming to fruition.
Thank you. Is anyone in the audience in support of the petition?
We do have a neighbor in support as well, a couple others.
Okay, all right. Do you have a spokesperson? Would anybody like to speak, or you just want your support to be notated? You would like to speak, sir? Okay, you can come on. Mr. Trotter, really quick, you heard some of the comments. If you have a brief response to any of the opposition's comments.
Yeah, I'll address a few of them. One, there's 7 different parcels with, I think, 12 sellers who've all come together to agree to do this. It's been quite the journey to get to this point, but one of the parcels does include owning this access out that will be gated. I know you had a concern about the density going up. There were a lot of good reasons to do a PUD as opposed to an R zoning. One of the challenges as a developer with a PUD is you're locked in. And this one's kind of locked into this site plan that has been submitted with this number of units. It would not be able to go to 145 or 170 units without coming back before this board and without another public hearing. But I'll be happy to address any other questions she may have.
Thank you, sir.
One quick thing.
Very brief, sir, please.
The primary access to the residential will be off of Stevens Creek and not Mayo, the way it's laid out. So we anticipate that being the case, so.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Smith.
Mr. Trotter, she talked about the park and the developers wanting to connect over to the park. Maybe y'all can adopt the park and do some improvements over there. It's just a
I
thought.
knew that was probably coming. I've been down here enough to know that was coming. Look, the developer would like that park to be in great shape as part of his development as well, and would be happy to explore what those options may be.
All right, sir, if you would just give us your name and your address and
my name is Brad
your
Foster,
support.
and I own a business at 829 Stevens Creek Road, which is directly impacted by this development. So I run a land surveying business out of that property, so I'm familiar with these site plans and things, and I've studied the density that they're proposing, and I feel very comfortable that that's a good number. So I don't feel like there's any need to reduce it, hopefully not increase it, so you guys are welcome to comment on that. But from my perspective, I feel like that this development company and these developers have done their due diligence in what this community needs and wants, and I feel very comfortable with what they've come up with.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay, all right, staff recommendations. Oh, okay.
One moment, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm reading the conditions.
Yeah. It's the staff recommendations.
All right, now, just to, as Mr. Trotter said, this is a planned unit development, and so there are 19 conditions because their narrative that they submitted, these conditions reflect the narrative they submitted, and so these are what the rules will go by for this specific 13 acres.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, if there's a way to dispense with reading of them, we consent to them, other than the change that there be a traffic study. We consent to them and have been provided notice of them.
Well, I believe they need to be read for the public's,
Okay.
For the public's knowledge.
And the requirement of a traffic study isn't in the conditions because the engineering is going to require it anyway.
Okay.
So anyway, all right. Planning and Development staff recommends approval of the zoning request with the following conditions. Permitted uses of the site be limited to single-family detached homes, attached townhomes, duplexes, multifamily apartments, and commercial uses allowed in the B2 zoning district. Flea markets, pawn shops, crematoriums, video game rooms, arcades, recreational vehicle parks, telephone offices and call centers, and automotive service shops are not permitted uses. Drinking establishments, nightclubs, taverns, or liquor stores require approval of a special exception to the process established in the City of Augusta's Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Number 2, the total height of proposed buildings within the PUD shall not exceed 3 stories or 55 feet in height. Number 3, the development shall substantially conform to the conceptual site plan dated May 8th, 2023. Number 4, the commercial area of the development shall not exceed 27,300 square feet of commercial building use. Number 5, the overall residential density of the 10.4 acres residential area of the PUD shall not exceed 16 dwelling units per acre. Number 6, parking shall be provided for the residential number of units and an overall average of 2.25 parking spaces per unit, and for commercial of 4 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet of gross floor area. Parking requirements not addressed in this PUD development shall comply with parking requirements of 4-2 of the City of Augusta Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Number 7, building setbacks within the residential portion of the PUD shall be 8 feet from edge of sidewalk for street-facing buildings and 6 feet for buildings facing green space. A minimum of 10 feet shall be required between structures to meet all applicable fire code compliance. Number 8, development shall provide a 20-foot buffer along the entire development with a 10-foot planted area and 10-foot grass area. Number 9, a minimum of 15% of the overall site shall be for public open space to include recreational amenities. Number 10, the PUD shall comply with the Augusta Tree Ordinance or obtain variances from the Tree Commission. Number 11, the commercial area shall comply with the sign regulations in Section 28B of the City of Augusta's Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Only directional signage shall be allowed in the residential area. Number 12, install improved sidewalks on all new and existing public streets adjacent to the site to meet the latest adopted ADA standards. Number 13, the PUD development shall comply with the requirements of the Augusta Engineering and Traffic Engineering, including but not limited to the permitting of new curb cuts, and that would cover the traffic study as well. Number 14, lighting in the parking lot shall be directed downward and away from any nearby residences. Number 15, building elevations shall generally reflect those submitted with the application, and final building elevations and materials of proposed structures may be subject to design review by the planning and development, by the planning director or designated staff. Number 16, changes determined to be minor to the approved PUD shall be handled administratively by the planning director or designated staff in accordance with Section 19-6 of the City of Augusta's Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Number 17, changes determined to be major shall require amending the approved PUD requiring Augusta Commission approval in accordance with Section 19-8 of the City of Augusta Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. Number 18, site plan approval in compliance with the site plan regulations of Augusta, Georgia for the actual development is required prior to construction commencing on the property. And finally, development of the property shall comply with all development standards and regulations of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia as amended at the time of development. And that concludes staff's recommendations.
Okay, the petitioner has already agreed to the recommendations. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
All right, it's been motion and properly second.
Second.
All right, I think that we can take a all in favor.
Chairman, I'd like to make a statement, Mr. Trotter. Mr. Trotter, I would hope that you would please bring us a residential, like Deborah asked for, with a dual, with some townhomes and a single family around it next time instead of something like Gibson Road.
I've got clients working on several of those.
All right, thank you.
I can assure you. But that's part of a larger discussion that involves the time necessary to approve developments.
You might need to make it a condition of this.
Thank you. Thank you.
You heard me, but I believe it's safe to take all in favor. Yeah.
So it was a motion to approve?
Yeah.
25, 24?
Cooks and Clark. Cooks and Clark.
All right, so all in favor to approve Z 25, 24 with staff Any opposed, say no. All right, thank you.
Okay, all right, Kevin, bring us home. We're in the home stretch.
Gotta get back here. Not sure what I'm doing, though. Doesn't want to. There it is. All right. All right. Petition by Carol Henry requesting a rezoning from zoning R1 one-family residential to R1C one-family residential to develop a residential subdivision affecting properties containing approximately 4.88 acres located at 3626 Richmond Hill Road. Staff present. All right, Kevin Boyd, Development Services Manager. This is a petition to change the zoning from R1 to R1C to develop single-family detached housing here at 3626 Richmond Hill Road. The applicant requests to rezone a 4.88 acre tract from R1 to R1C for this single-family detached residential subdivision. The parcel is undeveloped vacant land. The property is situated at the terminus of Richmond Hill Road in the Sutton Place subdivision. The concept plan presented with this rezoning application proposes the following: 14 single-family detached homes, an overall density of 2.9 units per acre, 2 public streets with development, including extension of Richmond Hill Road, 1 stormwater detention pond, and open space of 19,000 square feet, or approximately 11% of the property. In terms of staff's findings, there are no recent zoning history for the property. The property has nearby access to public potable water and sanitary sewer systems. The Georgia Department of Transportation Functional Classification Map 2017 classifies this section of Richmond Hill Road as a local road. The nearest bus stop is approximately 0.32 miles from the subject property. According to the FEMA flood insurance map firm, the property is not located in a special flood hazard area. According to the Augusta Richmond County GIS map layer, there are no wetlands located on the property. Adjacent zoning districts to the north, south, and west are zone R1A, one family residential, and to the east is zone R1A residential, R3B, and that's multiple family residential, and B1 neighborhood business. The proposed change to R1C would be consistent with 2023 comprehensive plan. And at the time of this report, completion of the report, we have received many inquiries as the petition is advertised, and that concludes staff's presentation.
All right, is the petitioner present? All right, if you could come forward and give us your name, your address, and any new details on your petition.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carolyn Henry. My address is 4632 Hunters Mill Court in Hepzibah, 30815. I come today to present a single-family subdivision in the Richmond Hill neighborhood. I purchased the property about 2 years ago. Subsequently, I have been on the property and studied the neighborhood. I think it's an ideal spot to put a subdivision. Not only will it help to increase and stabilize the neighborhood, but also as a resident of Richmond County, in particular South Richmond County, near the Richmond Hill Road area. I think it'll help with our tax base and with our schools. So I think it's a great project. I have held a community meeting. I've walked the community, talked to some of the neighbors. I've canvassed the community, gave them an information sheet. There was some concerns from community members. I gave them an information sheet and gave them my direct contact number so that if they had any questions or comments, they would be able to contact me directly. I've also had, at the community meeting, I reached out to the commissioners and had the commissioners, they've been on board since day one, so I've had them to come in and talk to me and talk to the neighbors as well, just to make sure that all of their concerns were addressed. So, is there any questions I have to answer?
All right, thank you, Ms. Henry. Commissioners, you have questions of the petitioner? Commissioner Smith.
What size homes are you going to build?
The home sizes are going to be at a minimum of 1,700 square foot under roof. There will be an option for porches and garages, which will push it up to 2,500. That'll be up to the home buyer to select which model they like.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners have questions of the petitioner? Okay, seeing none. Anybody in the audience oppose this petition? Or do you all have a spokesperson who would like to express your objection? I just want it to be notated. All right, sir, if you come up and give us your name, address.
Good evening to the commissioner. My name is Ron Primus, and I live at 3624 Richmond Hill Road. I object to the project. That neighborhood is stabilized. I've been there for 15 years, and people have been in that neighborhood for at least 34 years or longer. And this proposed project that she's doing, it's going to be detrimental to the neighborhood. Not only is it going to be detrimental, but it's going to cause sewer problems. I live right there next to the beginning of the property. I live at the very base of Richmond Hill. Water goes downhill. Water comes all the way down Richmond Hill and settles right there in my property. And all that property back there acts as a flood zone, okay? And my sewer line actually goes at a 45-degree angle to tie in at the top of Richmond Hill Road, right there, and Sutton Place, okay? It goes at a 45-degree angle because there's no sewer line going horizontally. And if the proposal she's making, she proposes on tying into an existing sewer line that's it's not in existence. This particular sewer line right there is 60, at least 50 to 60 years old. And so sewage doesn't flow uphill. So in order to add 14 additional properties, you got to have a flow, a gravitational pull, so the sewage doesn't pool. And I've had sewer problems because I live at the base of Richmond Hill Road, and you can see the size of my lot. And if you put properties in there with no additional sewage, the 50-year-old sewer line will not be able to handle that. And you're going to end up with problems. If people pay $200 or more for a property and they end up with sewer problems, the commissioner in Richmond County is going to have a problem. And I recommend that you don't do this. Now, she wants to change. She wants to change the existing zoning from R1 to R1C. Now, what she's proposing is putting two houses on one lot. And this subdivision is composed of retirees, people that's been there for years. I'm retired. I enjoy cutting grass. I don't mind cutting grass because it's my exercise. And my neighbors enjoy cutting grass. And so the proposals, it's not even any place to park cars for what she's proposed. And so I recommend that you let some of my other neighbors come up and express their opinions about this. And I would recommend that you deny it. And one other aspect too, that used to be, when I first moved there, that property was told to be a green space. I've seen fox, I've seen deer. 3 weeks ago, I saw a red-tailed hawk. That's something I hadn't seen in years. And I would recommend that you really not consider what she wants to do. All of the lots are at least 15,000 square feet. And she's proposing putting, 14, 15, 16 houses in that particular area. So my point is that the infrastructure is not there. You taken away from the green space, and not only you are putting a dense development in a lightly densely area. And I really would request that you deny that request from changing from R1 to R1C. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Is anybody in support of this petition in the audience? All right, in the same way, do you have a spokesperson? Anybody want to come up and express their support? All right, if there are several, you have a balance of 10 minutes, so if you could be mindful of that to allow other speakers to have opportunity. Yes, sir. Oh, you got opposition? You have, okay, come forward, sir. You got a balance of 4 minutes. Is it opposition? Yeah, he's opposition. He's opposition. You have a balance of 4 minutes, sir. But the support can get lined up to go after this gentleman is done.
My name is Charles Utley, and I live 3417 Sutton Place, and I've been over there almost 50 years. I grew up in Hyde Park, but I was born and raised in Hyde Park in Burke County. And I moved to where I am now. And I raised my children on 3417 Sutton Place. And I wanted to stay that way because that's where I want the future to be. I don't want you to have no homes stacked up on top of each other like it's across the street. And nobody wants to stay across the street now because there's going to be nothing in that building. I want to be at its best because I don't have anything to give my children but the best, and I don't have but 2 of them, and I want to have an inheritance for my children, not to have to come in and worry about who lives across the street, up the road. That's what I want. And I want to do it because that's what's righteous. You want to take care of your household, and you want to build a future. And what he's talking about down on the street down there, you walk down there, and if you ain't looking, you're going to fall in that water. And it's down there. And I'm not telling you something I dreamed about it. I'm telling you because I lived around it. And I'm telling you now, it's not do something that's going to be beneficial for the whole community, not just for a set determination. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Utley. You had a question, Commissioner Cook?
No, any person that comes before the commission is supposed to be speaking to us, just a reminder.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so if there's no more opposition, anybody else want to speak in opposition? Ma'am, you have a balance of 2 minutes.
To the commissioners, my name is Patricia Joyner. I live at 3622 Richmond Hill, right at the end where it says dead end next to Mr. Ron, okay? I've only been in Augusta, Georgia 2 years. I bought this property because of the neighborhood. The neighborhood is basically senior citizens. All right. We are not cramped. Most of us are on a 0.31 acre lot. The homes that she is trying to build are going to be smaller, stacked on top of each other. I'm at the beginning of Sutton. If you miss the stop sign, you end up in my house. So if you have someone coming in from the right of Sutton, in and out, we cannot get out of our driveways, and we're gonna have traffic all night long. And we're not ready for that. Our neighborhood is established. We don't need any more homes in our area. We are happy with the way it is. I would say, please deny any building in this area. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we're gonna bring the comments for the objectors. Was that you had something, sir? If you can, it be extremely brief. I know you guys been sitting here for about 2 hours, so I definitely want you to express your your opposition. But if your comments can be brief, thank you.
I'll be quick. My name is Tim McVeigh, and I live at 3520 Mount Vernon Drive. They're in the Mount Vernon subdivision. My wife and I bought our home on Mount Vernon Drive in September of 2011. But for 43 years before that, we've been coming to the Mount Vernon neighborhood to visit my mother and father-in-law at Christmas and in summertime. So we're very familiar with the neighborhood. We've been coming in and out for a long time. We bought our home with the understanding it was R1. I guess the thing I don't understand is the developer purchased the land knowing it's R1. I don't know why they don't develop it as R1. I guess that's our major issue. Plus, it wasn't clear to me what the road situation is going in and out. I can see people could enter and exit on Richmond Hill, but I don't know if there's plans for others. I heard something about plans for other roads, but it's not clear to me at this time. And I'll stop with that.
All right, thank you, sir. Okay. All right, now let's go to the support. You guys have a balance of 10 minutes, so if you could just be mindful that you have multiple speakers.
Oscar Jesse, here in the support again. One of the main rationales as it relates to changing the zoning for this particular project is the infrastructure costs. As some of you may know, that the infrastructure costs have now went through the roof as it relates to. When we're talking about infrastructure costs, we're going to be adding to the infrastructure that's currently out there as it relates to sewer lines, water lines, whatever the case may be. So it wouldn't be just the current sewer systems that's currently out there. What we're going to be doing is adding to. So those particular units, or not necessarily units, but homes that's going to be built out there is going to be added to. And I estimate right now at least additional $300,000-$400,000 worth of sewer systems that's going to be put out there. So it's not just going to be the current sewer system, which probably can help to increase some or decrease some of the troubles or issues that the residents are having out there. Now, when it comes to the quality of the homes there, everything is going to be high quality. I heard one of the commissioners here speak as it relates to some of the vinyl siding. These are going to be hardy board siding, stone or brick fronts. So everything is going to be quality. They help increase the value, help increase the area, or, things of that nature. So it wouldn't be anything that's low class. We're just looking to, again, provide, not necessarily affordable housing, but housing that can be used or utilized for individuals, nurses, teachers, things of that nature that's not out the wazoo, as you may see in the other areas. So I'm here as it relates to full support for Ms. Carolyn Henry.
Mr. Jesse, could you give your address really quickly?
Address is 5747 Whistling Pines Way, Evans, Georgia.
All right, thank you, sir.
My name is Jeremy Buck. I live at 2106 Bonnie Place.
I originally came in opposition of this, and through sitting here and watching some of the other things that have progressed, I have decided to show my support. I've lived at that address for 37 years. I've been in that neighborhood and watched multiple children grow up. We fought 15 years ago to prevent apartments from being built in the very spot she's looking at. While I would love to see larger homes being built there, there needs to be something developed, and I would love to see at least homes and not apartments. That's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, Sean Edwards, 1450 Green Street, Augusta 30901. As many of you are aware, I am your executive director for your Augusta, Georgia Land Bank Authority, and Ms. Henry's acquisition of this property came through the land bank back in 2023. Prior to that, this was a city-owned property for multiple years, so it was non-revenue generating. And we're in a state right now where the city needs to be producing as much taxes as possible to support our general fund. Ms. Henry took on this project with plans of building single-family detached homes for sale so that we can have homeowners and not tenants and renters. She stayed committed to that through changing times financially, and in requesting this change in zoning ordinance is not going down to something like an R1D or an R1E to maximize unit count, but is trying to be respectful of other areas that are R1C, which are in close proximity. In fact, although her parcel is R1 and less than 1 mile away on Vale Drive, it's R1B. Only 1 mile away on Butternut Street, it's R1C. So you're one neighborhood over, and you've got the exact same size lots that she's requesting of you now. We're in a position where we believe that this project is one that makes sense for this community. It is going to take a piece of property that is sat stagnant now for more than a decade and put some homeowners on that street, and it opens an opportunity for South Augusta to continue to see new construction, single-family detached development, as opposed to multifamily high density. So I am in full support of this project.
Thank you, Director Edwards.
Thank you. Jacinta Walton, 603 Jefferson Drive, 30909. I'm in support of with my daughter Jada Walton, who's now residing at 3403 Rutherford Court, Augusta, Georgia, 30906. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, and thank you for this community for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jada Watson. I currently live at 3403 Rutherford Court in this area with my grandparents. I want to express my strong support for the plan to build single-family homes in this area instead of apartments. I truly love this area. It's quiet and welcoming and full of character. It is kind of a place where people can build stable, long living terms. As someone just starting my career, it means a lot to see a plan that prioritizes housing opportunities that encourage families to put down roots rather than high-density homes.
Yes, because as the gentleman stated, this is the future. We thank you, Commissioners, for y'all time.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you to everyone, regardless of what position. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your comments. Okay, so with that portion being closed, we're gonna move to the staff recommendations.
The Planning and Development staff recommends approval of the rezoning request to R1C with the following conditions. Development must conform to the concept plan submitted with this rezoning application. Sidewalks are required along at least one side of the internal street within the proposed subdivision. Approval of this rezoning request does not constitute approval of the conceptual site plan submitted with the rezoning application. The proposed development shall obtain site plan approval in compliance with the site plan regulation of Augusta, Georgia prior to construction commencing on this property. The development of the property shall comply with all development standards and regulations set forth by the City of Augusta, Richmond County, Georgia, as amended as at the time of the development. This concludes staff's recommendation.
Ma'am, do you accept those recommendations and those conditions? All right, is there a motion from Commissioner?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second
That
to
sound
approve
like
this petition.
Davis and Clark. Okay.
Yeah, let's go with that.
All right, so that's a motion on the floor to approve Z 2525 with staff recommendations. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. All right, so Z 2525 has been approved with staff recommendations.
Okay, yeah. Need a motion to approve the minutes from the previous meeting, from the June meeting.
I heard McKnight and Malice. All in favor of the approval of the June? Okay, thank you, thank you.
Anything from legal?
Nothing from legal.
Okay, adjourn.